Hi guys, it's Matt again. So today I'm hoping to do the final day of this kind of recording phase of the Theory of Ruin. So I've got a lot to do. One of the things I wanted to do was have another look at the vocals, not in terms of singing them. I'm going to do a bit of that next week, but in terms of the effects. Now, in the group, when we discussed the Facebook group, when we discussed this song, one of the bits of feedback I had was it needs bigger reverb, bigger effects, make it kind of fit in more with the swampy feel of the song. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it with a slight twist. I think I'm going to put reverse reverb on there, so you're actually going to hear it coming in before I sing it, which is quite a cool effect. I haven't actually used it before, but I think I know how to do it, and I think it could really work. I think it will kind of work with the lyrics and the theme of the tune, because it's almost like a premonition of what's going to be sung soon. So it kind of gives that feel of eternity and things to come. So what I'm going to do,
I've got my vocals here. I've chopped them up. I've taken away the dead space in between the chorus and the verses, where all you could hear was me drinking my cups of tea and coughing. And I've also gone and put some volume dips in between the phrases to lessen the sound of the breathing. Not take them out completely, but to lessen it. So I've done that, and that's sounding quite nice. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a copy of that, and to take a copy of this with the volume dips and everything, I'm actually going to record it into a new audio track. So there's the new audio track. Now I don't want to record it with all of the effects on or anything like that, so I'll go briefly. I'm going to turn off everything except for the gain, which is controlling the volume for the breaths. Okay, so this new track, I'm going to set the input to be the vocals, set it to record, and I'll set it going, and then I'll cut you off for 5 minutes and come back, because you don't want to sit there for 5 minutes while it records.
Have you ever heard the theory of ruins?
Okay, and so it goes on for 5 minutes or so. So that's just the flat vocals with no effects on at all. So what I'm going to do now is use a magic button in Ableton. I'm going to click on reverse, and shockingly enough, it's going to reverse the sample, so it's backwards. So let's have a little listen to that. That's quite fun, isn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a nice big reverb on there, and I'm going to put it to 100%, so that's the full reverb. So if I put it to, there's a dry wet knob, and if I put it to 0, I just get the plain vocals going through. If I set it to 100%, I just get the reverb. Normally you'd have it somewhere in between, so you've got the normal vocals and the reverb, but all we're interested in this time is the actual effect. That's quite fun. Sounds like some kind of satanic ritual. Okay, so that's good. So now what I need to do, we've now got a backwards reverb. Sorry, we've got a forwards reverb of a backwards sample. Okay, so what we need to do now is reverse it again to get a backwards reverb of a forward sample, if that makes any sense. So to do that, I've got to create another track, and I'm going to record that reversed reverb into this new track. So it's all a little bit complicated, and again, I won't make you sit through the whole thing. Okay, so that's recorded through. So I can now click the magic button on Ableton again to reverse it, and because it's already reversed, that puts it back to normal. But what we will have now, we won't have the original singing on there, we will just have the reverb, but it should start coming in gradually instead of going out gradually, which is quite an interesting effect. So let's see if it's worked. There we go. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so what we need to do now is it needs to be played at the same time, of course, as the original vocals. So let's just put the vocals and that reverb on. I may need to change the timing, possibly. I very much doubt they're going to sit in the right place. In fact, I can see they're not, you know. So let's... I can move it so I can see the waveforms at least vaguely match up, and then we'll listen and see whether the reverb's coming in too soon or too much afterwards.
Have you ever heard the theory of ruin?
So I think the kind of big reverb you probably want exactly the same time as the vocals, which means it's coming in slightly soon at the moment. So I'm going to just take it back just an inch.
Have you ever heard?
Too far now. Somewhere in between.
Have you ever heard the theory of ruins?
That might do the trick, mightn't it? I've no idea what it's going to sound like actually in the mix. So this will be interesting. Let's just check I haven't... Yes, I need to turn off a few of those intermediate steps. And I'm going to put that reverse reverb into the same audio group as my original vocals. And what that means is it's going to get the same treatment as my original vocals. So it's going to get the EQ. What else have we got on there? Nothing. Oh no, there we go. It's going to have the EQ. It's going to go through the TG12345 modelled console to get a bit of drive and grit and lovely analog goodness in there. And also, oh, that's an interesting one. I probably don't want it in there because it'll start getting the dips for the breaths, because that's on there. That's a very interesting point. So I'm actually going to take it out of there again just for now, because we don't want the reverb to drop down just because I'm breathing on the other track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other bits that we were interested in, and I'm going to quickly copy and paste those effects on so we've got them. Okay, so let's hear what the whole thing sounds like with those vocals. Ow. Okay, so that crunch normally means that I've got far too much going on and my CPU isn't keeping up, so I need to turn some effects off or something like that. So bear with me one sec, I'll be back.
Have you ever heard the theory of ruin? Designed for more than life, extending past the fall, gratefully crumbling into legend.
I really like that. That's really nice. I think the idea is working really well there. Obviously, once it's been mixed in, it'll sound a bit more in there. But that sounds good. I'm just wondering off the top of my head whether or not I should take that reverb and put it right out on the right and left and let the main vocals come through the middle. That will give it a bit more kind of distinction, so you'll be able to hear the vocals a little better. But it might take away the whole point of doing it, which is to get a bit more of a mixed together soup of sound. I'll have a play though and see what I think. Also, I've got to remember not to go too mad with the effects for the left and right, because it's certainly possible that people will be listening to it on mono sources, or have a headphone that's not working, or the car stereo doesn't work very well, or something like that. So it does have to work in mono as well. But okay, I'm going to have another play, and then I'm going to get my guitar out. I've had a fairly productive afternoon. I've done two things. I've recorded some guitar. There was a solo after the second chorus, but I wasn't very happy with it. I just basically noodled about as a placeholder with the same guitar sound and the same kind of notes that I was playing on the other bits of guitar. But it didn't seem to offer anything when I listened back. It was just bleh. So if I'm not careful, this track will sound like one big muddy malaise, and I don't want that. So I've recorded a guitar solo which has got some attack, it's got some treble, it's got some punch, and it's just a slightly, it should cut through and make a real difference to the track when it comes in. So that's what I've done. And when you're listening to this, have a listen to the background vocals.
To hounds the test of time.
Okay, so that's the guitar solo. Did you hear the where I normally come in with the theory of ruins, that part? I've taken the vocals right down and I've brought up the reverse reverb, so all you're getting is that kind of coming through. So have another listen. Yeah, I haven't put it on loud, it's just there in the background, but I think it really adds something. So there we go. I'm actually really happy with the track. I know there's a couple of bits of vocals I wanted to redo again, but actually they're not as bad when you listen back to them, especially when they've got all that reverb on and everything like that. So maybe I'm just being a perfectionist there. I'll probably do it again for my own personal satisfaction next week anyway, but it's sounding pretty good. So the only thing really left on it is I want to stop listening for it for a while and come back. I'm slightly aware it sounds a bit kind of bassy and muddy. Now I know that's kind of the sound I've gone for, but it feels like either I need to just turn down all the effects just a little bit, or possibly more likely I need to add something else in the top end. So almost like a little cymbal, or I did this on one of my tracks. I recorded Jolene for Indigo, and it just needed something up there, and I had a finger cymbal sample, and I put that in, and it just made a world of difference. You could hardly hear it, but it just brought some sparkle up high. So I need a little bit of sparkle on here, little kind of high-end sparkle, so I need to have a think about that. I don't think it's just in the way it's mixed. I think it does need something added. But I'll have a think about that. If you've got any ideas on that, please let me know. Maybe it's cowbell. Is that what I need? More cowbell. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to post this up as it is onto the subscribers Facebook group. So if you're in there, please have a listen, give me some feedback, and see what you think I could put up in the top end to just give it that little bit of sparkle. Alright, speak to you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.